Okay, so another rainy day, another hugely rainy day. Starting to think I might need to buy a boat. Anyway, I'm going to take the opportunity to put a couple more bits and pieces on. I've got the front wheel bearing holders put on. Now, here's the thing, when you're painting all these parts, all of these holes, every single one of them, don't let paint get into them, because all you're going to do is have yourself a whole heap of time with a knife, with sandpaper, rolling it up into little tiny rolls, getting into all the little holes, even on the frame, you've got to go through with a knife, go around, get all the paint off of those holes, because otherwise you get part of the way through an installation, installing a particular part, and you've got to put it all aside because you've got to get your knife out and clean up that hole. So that's a really good idea to be doing that always. What we're going to do is put these guys on. So I'm going to start by putting them together. So there's two of them. One has a lip inside it. It has a lip. Okay, so it actually has a lip, as you can see there. Whereas the other one, it does not have a lip. So, the one that doesn't have the lip can only really go one way. It's going to go on this side, and that's the one we're going to work on first. So, we have this pivot bolt, which has a hole in it. That's going to be going into this hole with the holes in it. So you want to try and line that up best you can. Pop that in there. Just have a look at it for alignment. Make sure everything looks right. Happy with that. This other guy, another bolt, another pivot bolt goes into there. Again, if you haven't taken the paint out, they won't go in. Okay, so that there now is ready. Go onto the unit. It's going to go into these two holes here, this adjustable hole and the one behind it. And then you have a locking washer, a normal washer, and a bolt. Okay, so those bolts are on, front and back. I haven't got them too silly tight at the moment because there is going to be a little bit of an adjustment. Now I'm going to move over to the other side and do it. Same story. The one without the holes in this side, and with the holes in this side. Beautiful. Okay, so So we'll do them up in a little while. So far, there they are. Okay, now these parts here, you can just sit them there temporarily so you don't lose your bolts or whatever else. They're not going to be put together until we've actually got our reel in place. You might notice on some of them you've got a little dimple at the top here. That dimple was originally for non-sealed bearings so that you could lubricate those. We now use sealed bearings, so that's redundant. If yours has got a little cap or whatever in it, great. If not, according to the Bible, you can just put a little bit of silicone in there and block that hole up. Okay, next we've got these parts here, the adjustable part. According to Loveland, best advice according to these is use two washers. Wasn't him, it was SB Renault's. And the other tip I got on these that I thought was great was to get this lock nut, nylock nut, a fair ways up. You can actually then put it into, have a look at it in relation to this piece here, and as long as it goes between one washer above and one washer below, and then you've got your nylock nut below that, then you're going to be okay. So what we want to do now is here's a tip. Put these on before you put your bearing holders on the side of the frame, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get it in if you use that great tip that I just told you about getting it up into position. So I'm going to quickly take it off, put these on, I'll be right back. Okay, so because they're only finger tight, they come off super quick, and I'm just going to wind this down into that pivot bolt. Right, that's about spot on. So I've just got it yay far out at the bottom here, and that's about all you need at this point. So I can just put that back in there now. That makes more sense. And I'm just going to do the same on the other side. Okay, whenever you are touching these bearing holders at the front, you always want to be undoing these screws, these nuts at the back, because if you don't, then you're going to probably break your bearing holder, do some sort of damage. Without undoing those, that adjustment's not really advisable. Little tip here is don't wind this down into your, just going back to before where I showed you that how far that bolt went down into the pivot bolt. don't put it very far down into your pivot bolt, just a little bit, because that way when you are screwing this down, you can have your wrench or your spanner or what have you on your nut. And then when you're screwing, into your bearing holder, you also bring your nylock nut further up to where it's got to be positioned. Now remember, you want one washer on top and you want a washer at the bottom as well. Keep an eye out that you haven't gone up to your maximum at the top here, or again you're going to break something. So at the moment everything's looking nice. I'm going to tend to sit this adjustment at this point in time around about, I'm going to sit it a little bit higher. So screw it in a bit further. Alright, I'm not going to do that all the way up right now. I'm just going to leave that a little bit loose so that we can make final adjustments later on. I'm going to finger tight those bolts back together. And I'm going to do it to the other side, and that will be those guys, and then we'll go on to the PTO shaft. Okay, so we've got both of those guys all nice. Okay, so now we're going to do the PTO bearing holder. He goes at the top where this hole is, right here. Comes with a bolt and a locking washer, one of those on each side. Do that up. So that's the real bearing holders and the PTO bearing holder installed.